Greetings and welcome back everyone to From the Depths. This will be Season 3. Now, just to get a couple of questions out of the way, yes, it has been a fair while since I recorded any From the Depths, and this is the newest version, and that is partially why it's been so long since I recorded any. Part of the reason was simply that I was having some difficulty with bugs in the previous version, where I was in my campaign. And then came the knowledge that there was soon to be a large update, a pretty extensive update. You can even see some of that in just this little scene, the terrain generation, and every now and then you'll get a glance of the kind of terrain under the water as well. There's a lot that has changed, and unfortunately, it's not save compatible. So as a result, our previous campaign is no more. I choose to believe that we went on to win, heroically. Reasonably speaking, probably we got crushed about midway through the campaign. Let's be perfectly honest here. Or at least our primary fleet got crushed, and then we retreated and we rebuilt, and eventually we won out of being stubborn. That's the way I'm going to go with that. But this is the new version, and this is going to be a new campaign, and there is a lot that has changed. An awful lot, in fact. Too much for us to go over, unfortunately. There is very little in the way of patch notes simply because there's so much that's changed. Probably one of the biggest things that's changed, though, is the world editor. The terrain, the world, the map, everything has been had a huge overhaul done to it, and it is really looking sharp now. I've had a little bit of time in the game, just basically loaded it up to see whether I could run it or not. That looks like an awesome ship. But the world editor allows people to make their own planets, their own story missions, their own progression and unlocks. As the developer has said, it would be possible to make like a World War II themed world and campaign, and that sounds amazing to me. But we're not going to be playing with the world editor. We're going to be going through the regular game, but I am going to be keeping an eye on any Steam Workshop releases along those lines, world things, and certainly if any of my viewers happen to have released a workshop item for the world, then do let me know and I'll check it out, and if I like it, I might even showcase it. But we're going to be jumping into the new campaign. This is going to be our actual campaign, the good old quest for Nita. It's the same campaign as we had previously, but it'll be in a different world. The map has had a significant amount of change to it. The hills are taller, the oceans are deeper. That is really interesting because you've now got terrain in the oceans. It's not just a flat plain that everything tends towards, but you've basically got an ocean, with deeper parts and shallower parts and, hills and valleys in the ocean. It's going to make submarines or anything that submerses very interesting to design. But for the settings, I know in my last game, the way I was playing kind of necessitated having this not too high, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it all the way up to 1.5. Now, I'll cover why I feel confident in doing that. Well, confident is the wrong word. Why I'm going to is the better way to put it. We're also going to be increasing the max block spawned. I feel quite confident my computer is going to be able to handle 50,000. I might even increase it or decrease it depending on how things go. As for the first playthrough, the resources given, this is not our first playthrough, but I'm not going to drop it more than 0.5. We'll see how that goes. When we were playing in the last campaign, it did end up being a case that we were drowning in resources towards the end of it. I'm not sure if I can adjust this when we're in-game, but I think this looks like a decent place to put it. So let's go ahead and begin the new campaign. Now, as I said, we were going to have the enemy growth rate a little bit higher. Aha, yes, that's another thing I wanted to show you. We've got a radar. And look how the radar dishes actually interact. I had no idea, but it appears that if you just place enough of them together, they actually do create a kind of a dome effect. I had no idea, but that is remarkably awesome. I really, really like that, and I may actually be making most of my radars like that in the future. But for now, actually, I suppose we could also have a quick look at the map. This is where we live at the moment. We can't really see what the oceans are like, but we've got Erwick, Janwall, we've got Orhurst, These are basically all of the areas, the traditional homelands of the various factions from the original campaign. And I like it that they're written there. We've got Cauldron of Erwick. I like that. Cold Loch. We've got Cordale. And Normant. Pretty awesome. But going back to our ship, let me quickly set this up. Now, the main thing that I wanted to touch on, and this may come as a bit of a shock to some, maybe a great relief to others, but in the previous campaign, I was fairly adamant about not... where did I put the mirror line? Oh, I put the mirror line in the wrong place. Damn and blast. But I was fairly adamant about not having any... time in the vehicle designer, not to go in there and build things, just build things in the campaign, as I felt it gave me a more organic design process. Things came into being in a more organic way. They adjusted to meet the needs of the campaign, rather than me just dipping into some hidden area where time stood still, where I could quietly set up... Oh, where's the exhaust? Where I could quietly set up my awesome ships and then just spawn them in. Granted, they would be spawned in with my actual resources. There was no cheating in that regard, but still it felt a little bit suboptimal. It took a little way away from the game, the idea that I could just retreat and build something perfectly designed to combat whatever threat I was encountering, rather than having a more organic experience where I encountered the threat. It attacked me, destroyed parts of my ships, I was forced to flee, rebuild my ships on the fly, etc., etc. Now, the reason why I'm going over this is, as you can probably imagine, I'm going to hazard and test out the playstyle of going into the vehicle designer to build my vehicles. Now, there are going to be a couple of caveats. I still strongly believe that it's going to be a bit cheesy, and if it does end up being that way, I'm going to give it a try, because so many people wanted me to try it. I think many people's brains were itching when I wouldn't do it, because as a result, the enemies grew very, very strong very quickly while I was idling around building my fleet in the campaign. But I'm going to try the vehicle campaign this time. Let it not be said that I won't give things an opportunity to surprise me, but I am going into this expecting it to feel cheesy, and if it does end up feeling that way, if it does end up feeling that I'm basically abusing the system, I'll have a look at that in a second, then I'll stop. So, this is not a guarantee that I'm going to keep doing it, and quite often, if we're just in the middle of a fight, I may stop to adjust my ship in the campaign if it's a small adjustment. So there'll still be a bit of organics to it, and maybe that'll be enough. Maybe that'll help preserve the feeling that my designs are growing and evolving through many iterations, rather than me just going to my pocket universe to design the ultimate counter to anything that's particularly troubling me. We'll see how it goes. But... what on earth is this? Heartstone. Right. Okay, I'm fairly confident we're going to be able to get... oh, yes. We're going to be able to get rid of this. I'm fairly certain. We've got down in the bottom of the UI, the little, plus icon and the heart. I imagine that's all about the Heartstone. Let's see. If I just take this away, will it kill me? This is the question. You know what? I best... can I find Heartstone? Yes, here we are. I'll hover over this just in case. Now, in many story mode missions, you have to protect the Heartstone. If the Heartstone gets destroyed, that's you dead. However, in the campaign, I believe it's no longer the case. Let's just see. Heartstone is almost fully discharged. And you'd be dead if the Heartstone were required. Okay, so the Heartstone is not required. That is good times. Now, there are a few things that I want to do. First and foremost, would I get anything back from this if I... no, I don't think that has any crystals, but I'm fairly certain these do. Let's just grab that, and then we can have a quick look. Repair tentacle. Does it require crystals? Yes, it does. That's the easiest way to check, is just to press R over an item. That basically makes it the item you're going to build with, and then check out... oh, that one didn't work. Okay. Is it going to be in here? Electric engines. Here we are. Battery charger. Battery, electric engine. That's not what we need. We want the generator. Is that it? Yes. Crystals? No. What about you? Docking station. I'm fairly certain this does. No, have we not selected that? That's quite annoying. Okay, vehicle blueprint spawner. No crystals required for these. Let's see. Where are you? Docking station. Actually, that's got quite a lot of crystals. But I think we're going to have enough if I just take these away. I'm going to just take it off the repair tentacles for now. There we go. And you as well. Alright. Now that has given us 75 crystals. Now the reason why I've done that is I want to get a crystal economy going as soon as possible, so that we've got some resources to build some of the more interesting things like AI on the ships that we're going to be building. And we are going to be building a small ship in this episode, or at least starting on it. We want crystal growth farm, tray. There we go. It shouldn't actually take any crystals to make, but you need crystals in your inventory to actually use it. Oh, wait, no. I needed a growth farm, didn't I? There we go. Yes, you need the growth farm at the bottom, and then the trays on top. My bad. But these don't require crystals to make, but each tray can handle 20 crystals in your inventory. So we've got 3 trays, so at most this can handle 60 crystals. And they'll use those. Each tray will use 20 crystals and will produce crystals at a fixed rate based on how many crystals it has to work with. So all of these are going to be producing crystals at the maximum rate. And we've got 17 left over, and slowly that's going to build up. As you can see, it's up to 78 now, so over time that's just going to make us crystals, and that'll be good. We'll build more crystal areas later on, more crystal growth farms, but that is going to be it for what we're building here. I think our little area should be good enough to deal with itself. It's got a little gun. It's not much of one. We could set up an AI controlling that, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going out and building a new ship, and I've already got an idea for that. So I shall meet you back in the designer. Welcome back. We are in the designer, and this little ship is spinning madly. Oh, I think the oceans look so much nicer now. There are loads of different things as well. There's different weather effects. Apparently there are far more weather effects now as well, and they're much nicer to look at. But let's get to building our ship. Now I've got an idea in my mind already on what we want to have. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this ship a little bit more usable with beams instead of the small blocks. Also, I have had a look at the color picker, and I've set up some colors for this fleet. For example, I really liked the color scheme we had going on the last ship I made. And I'm thinking of using that as my color scheme for the fleet. So the main fleet will be black. Fleet secondary will be this red color. Fleet detail will be gold. And the trim will be like a silvery color. Or maybe let's make it a little bit more bluish though. Something around there, I think. Maybe a little bit more blue. There we go. Right, those are going to be our colors. So we're going to be using the fleet main color for now. And we want the wooden beams. So there we go. And now we're going to be painting with this straight away. Right, we want the mirror beam. We're going to have... My idea for this is going to be a fairly low profile vessel. What about 4... In fact, let's just pop that off there. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's not good times. Worry not. There we go. We're back. And bring that down there. And once again. Now, my idea for this vessel is to have it fairly low profile along the surface of the water. Not too much bigger than this. In fact, I think this is pretty much as big as it's going to be. And maybe only actually protruding this much from the water. More of it will be underwater than atop, so that it's much harder to hit with cannons, which are the main thing that I'm suspecting we're going to have to worry about early on. It's also... Oops, wrong one. Replace that. I'm going to be faffing around with the controls a little bit because it's been a while. So I do apologize for that. Let's use this instead. No, that's too aggressive. Let's do that. There we go. And out like that. There we are. Okay, so this is the basic part of our hull. Now, what I'm thinking for this is missiles. Not super powerful ones. Maybe only like 3 or 4 missile silos or missile tubes, I guess. I'm not actually sure if they're still called silos when they're on a boat, but we'll go with silos for now. Using ejectors to launch them up. Again, not very complex. They'll be self-guided. This isn't not going to be... I don't want this to rely on having lasers to be able to designate its targets, though perhaps... That's one thing I want to test, actually, and I might test that once I've designed this ship, and then maybe we'll adjust it later on for like a version 2, whether the designators can work out of the water. I noticed one of the ships in the menu screen seemed to be designating with laser designators that were situated under the water, and they were designating something outside of the water, and I was like, oh, okay, that might be an option now. But let's start with the weapon system. And for that, let's move to the rear of the boat. There we are. And this way, it'll be a little bit easier for us. Now, what I'm thinking, and I've not built a missile system like this before, so you'll have to forgive me if I make a hash of it, but we want probably from about here. Actually, I don't want the components to have colors. The actual functional components, unless it's part of the aesthetic, like a gun barrel or something like that, I don't generally want them to have color. So we'll bring that back about this far. That'll give me enough room to build up from. Or should I build down first? Should this be the... In fact, you know what? I've kind of built this to be the shape that I want on top of the water. So... realistically, I think I'm going to have to go underneath and build up. So, let's just start from about here. I'm not sure how tall these need to be. We'll be about down there, I think. That's as far as we'll go. Right, so missiles, torpedoes. We want a missile launch pad. And we want this pointing up. We'll lock that position. One there. Leave 4, one there, leave all the spaces around it, and one there as well. Okay, that looks good enough. Now, as for the ejector add-on, the launch ejector is used to propel the missile forwards at launch. Up to 4 can be added to a single launch pad in the effect stack. Good, good, good. Right, so what we want then is... Do I need to orientate it? Yes, I do. I need to get this to face a certain way. There we go. One there. Okay, these are actually much taller than I was expecting. I guess on the other sides... damn it, I needed that. I guess on the other sides, though, I can have them pointing up. That might also work. So, for example, something like this. Absolutely not. Something like this. Yes. That'll do. And there we go. So we've got maximum launch for these missiles here. And then we want the missile blocks. And we'll rotate that around. We'll have them going this way. There we are. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be more than enough for our missiles. Unfortunately, it's going to mess up the deck a little bit, but we'll deal with that. There we go. Right, let's go back to blocks and quickly sort that out. So we want color picket as well, fleet main. Oh, wrong type of block. There we go. So this is my idea for the missile size. We'll only have 4, but it should be okay once we get going. I do need a deck down here, though, quite badly. Let's get some wood beams, and then where's the center of mass? It's right about there. Let's place an iron block right underneath this, just to try... sorry, a lead block. Just to try and balance this a little bit better. There we go. Right, now the other thing I was thinking is perhaps I could have basic weapons on the side. So, simple guns, simple cannons, maybe even auto cannons. The only thing with this is, where is the engine going to be? Am I going to have to extend this back slightly? I'm thinking I might need to. And also, that rocking is really worrying me. So, perhaps what I should do is have some sort of stabilization. Maybe some basic wood blocks. Maybe 2 out. Let's bring that back there. Actually, we'll just hook that up for now, just so I can place this block here. Like so. And then we'll get rid of that. We'll just have this drawn out like that. Just to add a little bit of extra stability. I want it 1 in. There we are. That should make it a lot more... Oh, I think that's actually perfect as well. That should make it a fair bit more stable. We'll create a little bit more balance outside. There we are. I like this. I like this design already. Now the question is, with those missile systems, how expensive this is going to be? Oh, it's actually remarkably, a remarkably modest price, all things told. Okay. Right then, down here, we're going to need to flesh out this area. Let's lock that in position. Yeah, we'll do that. And build out down here. And once again, I forgot to turn on the mirror line. It wouldn't be my sea user from the depths if I didn't keep forgetting to turn on the mirror line. Don't even pretend to get angry anymore. I know most of you find this endearing. Or just kind of... your brains have stopped itching because they've developed an immunity to it. What on earth are you doing, boat? You should be perfectly stable. Why? Oh, you. Okay, let's get some more... have a better of a keel. Is that enough? No. I still don't think so. Okay, we need to build this out a little bit deeper. There we go, something like this, I think. That should help keep things where they need to be. Okay, well, we've got the rough shape. We've now got a little bit of room down here as well to play with, so we can set up a basic... we'll get rid of this. We no longer need this at all. We'll set up a basic engine down here. The AI can just be built into this if we really want it to be. I was about to say we could have 2 AIs, one controlling this and one controlling the other guns, but I'm not sure I like that idea. Primarily because I worry that it would mean that having 2 AIs would cost an awful lot in crystals. We'll have to see about that. But I'm going to go ahead and lay down a cut here, and I will bring you back when I've fleshed out more of the hull. I'm probably going to be a little bit more cut happy with this series than I was with the last. I'm sure you've seen me do a lot of this more than enough times to know how I'm doing it, so you don't really need to watch me do it anymore. But we'll be coming back in a few minutes, and we'll have more of a ship to look at. And welcome back to me having just launched a bunch of missiles. It's just the way it's going to be, I'm afraid. We're back to that again. Now, I have gone ahead and I fleshed out the vehicle a little bit. We actually have the weapon system armed. We have an AI controlling it. We even have an engine. Let me give you a quick tour. We have not got any propellers yet. That's to come. I've kind of shaped the hull a little bit. It's basically a blocky hull. I'm not sure how much effort I'm going to put into smoothing that. I will put a little bit of effort into smoothing it, but that's not going to be for right now. Probably not in this episode at the very least. But I've extended the, well, I guess pontoons, these braces on the side to help balance things. I've added a little bit of ammo in here, and by a little bit I mean a fair amount, because I'm not sure how much ammo these missiles are going to take, I'll adjust that as I need to. And yes, I'm aware of how dangerous having the ammo there is. Don't think that I'm not aware of that. I am. Unfortunately, we do need ammo in here, and we do not have the metal resources yet to run ammo processors instead of ammo barrels. The idea with this is that it's not going to get close enough to take much damage, so hopefully that'll keep it alive. The AI is here. It has a, let's have a look, naval movement algorithm, and quickly show you. It's set to try and enter broadside around 750 and leave broadside above this range of 850. Nominal broadside angle 75, broadside minimum range. Probably going to set this. I hadn't done that already. I'm quite surprised. We'll set this to 500. That's as much as we can. So from 500, it's going to disengage. It's going to leave broadside above this range. It's generally going to just try approach when it's at 850. In fact, I can just read this. It does a good job of putting it out there. Below 750 meters, engage with the broadside at an angle of 75 degrees. Above 850 meters, turn to close on target again. When broadsiding, do not allow them closer than 500 meters, disengaging and retreating when necessary. Will approach to within 50 meters of a friendly player when no enemies are present. Next up, we have got the target prioritization. Crew and weapons have very strong target prioritization. I have given it a priority to hit distant targets rather than closer ones. At least for this AI, I'm probably going to build a second one to control some simple cannons on the actual deck. And it generally wants to go for slower moving targets. We have propulsion balancing. I may have thrusters to try and propel this rather than propellers. I'm not sure about that. And a patrol card in case I want it. The buoyancy fraction is set at 1% on this. I don't want this trying to stay out of the water because there's enough air in there that this can actually float quite high on the water. The red mark is above the waterline, which is not what we want. And I haven't yet set up the missiles, but it has got the missiles active, which is quite nice. And then, of course, we have a modest engine. It's probably not efficient at all, but it'll do for now. It'll certainly help us get things done. So that's the ship as it stands. There's still much to do. The secondary weapon system, which is probably going to be these. Not custom cannons, simple cannons. I'm thinking, well, we're not going to be using those. So it's either going to be a small cannon, a large cannon, or an auto cannon. Maybe a mixture of large and autocannons. Autocannons fire 9 consecutive shots but have no aiming angle. Large cannons are effective at long range but have small aiming angle. These are in no way related to the customizable cannons. And small cannons are effective at short range and have a large aiming angle. I'm thinking a mixture of cannons, perhaps, for close range. The larger one, kinetic damage is much higher. Armor piercing is also much higher. This one, armor piercing is absolutely terrible, but it's got a fair reload speed. Actually, only 3. Oh, but it shoots 9 consecutive shots when it fires. I'm really not certain about this. I'm thinking, yeah, we'll go with a mixture of small and large cannons. And what I'm thinking are a couple of dedicated little turrets, maybe along these pontoons, maybe along the main deck. But we're going to have to shape the main deck first. It's not going to be quite this flat. It's going to probably come up one more level. And also, we want a little tiny bit of a cockpit for our, or rather a bridge for our pilot seat to go. We're not really going to be controlling this mostly, but we're going to have a little something there as well. But I think that's going to be it for this episode. So in the next one, we're going to be putting the finishing touches to this ship. Just a quick glance at how much it costs. Already fairly expensive. But I'm planning on only having one more AI for all of the basic cannons. So hopefully we'll pull down the potential cost in crystals there. But the cost in metal and scraps already fairly high. So we don't want to add too much more to this ship for now. But I think we've got a good little ship on the go. These 4 missiles there will probably be good enough to take on most of the starting stuff that the Deepwater Guard are going to send at us, unless it has changed quite a lot. But I do hope you've enjoyed this episode, and will be joining me for the next, where we will complete this vessel. In fact, I'll do a bit of the shaping off camera. But until then, and as always, do take care.